is a spiritual deity. Freedom and liberty and justice shall fight for you. When you fight for freedom with all your soul, take it from me. This is Broadcasting Corporation of Biafra, BCB, the voice of the nation, the voice.
And here is a special announcement from the leadership of Biafra government in exile. This is BCB.
On the back of Nigeria's federal elections, it has become abundantly clear, even to the very blind, that Nigeria is one big fraud. An expired colonial contraption that has held down indigenous peoples who existed peacefully and successfully along the banks of River Niger and River Benue for hundreds of years. Hugely successful kingdoms of Benin, Ijo, Igbo, Nupe, TV, and many others. We are wrongfully coupled together in an unholy union solely for the economic benefit of the British Empire and their Fulani servants. BGIE made it clear that we do not participate in Nigeria elections. We got to this position after careful analysis and observation of the irregularities, criminalities, deception that are inherent in the process. However, the most sinister is the unwritten law, the gang-up in Nigeria that no Igbo person will become president in Nigeria. The irony is that Nigeria, under Fulani and British control, does not want an Igbo president, no matter how qualified he or she is. What we witnessed recently was a soundly qualified and capable candidate of Southeast extraction, who is head and shoulders above his competitors. One of his competitors was described by the Times of London as a wealthy kleptocrat godfather of politics, while the Guardian of UK described him as an immensely wealthy veteran power broker, trailed by corruption allegations, which he denies. The other competitor is a well-known corrupt politician, former vice president, who was described by his boss as spectacularly corrupt, very unreliable, and cannot be trusted with public finances. Nigeria would rather have an old, sick drug lord or an old, deceptive, corrupt individual to be their leader than an Igbo Biafran who is massively competent, mentally and physically fit, credible and capable as president. In all these, one thing is very obvious. Biafrans must now be allowed to have an internationally supervised plebiscite to decide in a free democratic process whether they want to remain or leave Nigeria and become a separate independent nation. Igbos are being threatened in Lagos for exercising their civic duty peacefully. In 1999, Igbos voted overwhelmingly for Obasanjo, a Yoruba man. In 2007, they voted for Yaradua, a northern Fulani man. Since then, they have voted for Goodluck Jonathan, an Ijo man. And in 2019, they voted for Atiku. Yes, Atiku, another northern Fulani man. In all these, they were not asked to go back to Igbo land. But in 2023, this year, the Igbo again voted exactly the same way they have done in the last 20 years. But this time the candidate is from the southeast. The west and the north have suddenly remembered that the Igbo man is not wanted in Nigeria. Their shops are being destroyed, set on fire in parts of Lagos and other places. This is one of the fundamental reasons Biafrans are demanding for freedom, for their own nation. Biafra agitation is an agitation for justice, fairness, decency, merit, innovation, reward for hard work and creativity. It's agitation for clean environment, for education, for good health, for youth employment, industrialization, for competence, credibility, development, security, and for humanity. No human being, no individual or group of people deserve to be under such servitude, destitution, and hopelessness as millions are experiencing in Nigeria. This is because the foundation of Nigeria is wrong. The constitution is a fraud, and the leaders and Fulani cabal have held it hostage, pillaging, raping, abusing all the people. The indigenous peoples are at the receiving end of this calamitous colonial mistake. Biafrans in public services are discriminated against, and they are marginalized. They are not given the opportunity to get on. There's no level playing field. Less qualified people from the north are promoted above the well-qualified Biafrans, Igbos, in public services. Christians are persecuted and killed in great numbers by extremist Islamic terrorists backed by state instrument of coercion. Our businesses are stifled and denied the infrastructure they need to grow. No operational seaports, no international airports, no railway networks, and no adequate federal highways to boost the economy of Biafra land. Biafrans are today reiterating in all solemnity that they shall no longer continue in this physical, sociological, political, economic, and psychological subjugation by the state of Nigeria. Unwilling to continue to live under such stifling servitude, while suffering such indignities as are inappropriate for human beings, we are determined to exercise the natural and legal rights to freedom and liberty. To all Biafrans in exile, legally or illegally, this is the time to stand up and support the rightful and legal agitation for Biafra to exit from Nigeria. I call on all professionals, intellectuals, and indeed all our elites, with good conscience and compassion for all our peoples, arise and help the liberation struggle and be part of building a modern, fair, equitable, and competitive nation we all can be proud of, and future generations can live and thrive in. Let us restore and build a nation where all are welcome, all are treated fairly and equally, where our innovation and science, our technology, trade and commerce will be unleashed in the making of the African legend, Biafra, the land of the rising sun. Thank you for listening today. May God bless you, and may God bless our nation, Biafra.
This is the Broadcasting Corporation of Biafra, BCB.
I welcome every one of you to this wonderful segment on security in your darling radio station, BCB, Broadcasting Corporation of Biafra. Many of us has witnessed the brazen confusion, lies, and uncertainty that beclouded the so-called presidential election in Nigeria few days ago. This was exactly what every right-thinking Biafran vis-a-vis Ndibo envisaged before then. We have seen that the old tricks of a tortoise cannot be changed overnight. We have also seen that despite every lies and cunningness that the so-called leaders, political class, and so-called elites in that country called Nigeria exhibits, they will never change. When some of us were saying what we were seeing, trying to make our people understand the need to refocus and reunify our effort towards our liberation and freedom, some got swayed by the sweet talking slogans of the politicians we know very well. Now they have rigged the election against P2B. For those of you who were carried over by sentiment, life and reality of life, if never by sentiment. For he that must become must be prepared and focused to wage all odds. Now we have seen that many who were clamoring for the struggle were actually wolves in goat skin. And today the wind has blown, and we have seen the truth of who some of our people are. But nevertheless, we are here in this security segment to encourage our people and let our people know that freedom is a spiritual deity. And freedom will fight for you personally when you fight for freedom. Freedom and justice will fight for you to keep your legacy and reward your memory when you stand firm. Never be shaken and never get disfocused. Those of us who have weathered the storm and stood as the last man standing, bravo. For tomorrow, we talk of you of today. One thing I want our people to understand is this. This is the time to get ready. This is the time to get prepared. This is the time you must not lose focus, because no amount of soothsaying, no amount of sweet tonguing, no amount of arm twisting will make our enemies to change their color, because the leopard can never change its spots. Rather, each and every time, especially years of political renewal, they will only add to their lies and trickishness. There's nothing like one Nigeria. We must get back to freedom land. We must ignite the power that activated the rising sun. Our flag must rise again. And there is nothing, any force, any power, any individual, so-called elites, will do about it. For our nation will rise higher above Kilimanjaro, and even the imperialists and the suppressors and oppressors of destiny will be marveled on what Chukwu Okike will do for us. Therefore, I encourage every one of us to get ready. Re-intensify our effort. It is now we are going to defend ourselves. Because from what we see, even if Peter Obi wins the court case, they will still not give him that seat or power to ascend the presidency of Nigeria. And that is where the problem will start. They will use it as an excuse to unleash mayhem in Igbo land vis-a-vis Biafran nation. We are urging every frontier of our men and women in this struggle to get prepared. We are encouraging our strong men, our armed forces to be at alert. We are encouraging every Tom and Dick, every male and female, the old and the young, to get ready. This is a season of Onrubenwane Abaloso. We say, Ewu okeyaga nonolo ewu amonoburu. And that is why the scenarios ahead of us will tell of what will be. Today, they have postponed the governorship election because they realized that the people were alert, seriously alert, to avert what happened in the presidential. Be it as it may, we are here to tell our people the truth. Even if they postpone the governorship election 100 times, it will still be of no benefit to us. Our own is our own. My own is my own. It is time for us to talk about our own. Our own, meaning my own. Because what is ours, we'll be able to build it, protect it, and preserve it judiciously. I repeat, this is the time our frontiers will come together, prepare to defend our land. There is no more hide and seeking. There is no more speaking in parables or riddles. There is no more hiding our faces and groaning pain when the enemy is lording it over out there, even over our own people. It is time for us to get ready and confront the enemy eyeball to eyeball, leg to leg, hand to hand, force to force. And those of us who keep saying or thinking, what have we got in case war starts? I want you to know we're already at war. If you don't know history, learn from the history of the Israelites. I'm talking about the modern day Israelites. In 1948, how many were there? What was in their armory? What could they boast of? But one secret was this: they knew who they were. Biafrans, you know who you are. Ndibo, you know who you are. The spirit of our ancestors will never put us to shame. The spirit of our ezumezu, ezumezu ndi egede and ezumezu ndi okpo, our ancients of days, will never put us to shame. We are letting our people to know today that Ogodiniru, whether you believe it or you do not believe it, this is time to get prepared to defend what is our own. May God bless the ear that hears, and the eyes that sees afar, and the brain that reasons like humans. We thank you for this day as we come again. God bless you.
Fellow Biafrans, this is Rose Ama, and this is BCB, the Broadcasting Corporation of Biafra. The moment of truth is here. The long night is over. Nigerian elections have concluded, and the winner is, yes, this is a pregnant pause, a pregnant question indeed. Will INEC reverse what many people perceive as an illegal declaration and award the presidency to Mr. Peter Obi, whom majority of Nigerians believe won the elections? Will INEC burn itself at the pyre of Tinubu worship and hold onto what people claim as a flawed decision in awarding the Jagaban the presidency? Nigerians are in mourning, as observers note. One young man, a Nigerian, on a social media post said, "There is no jubilation. Even the so-called winning party is saddened by its luck." Yes. They cannot celebrate victory because they know they did not deserve it, I say. You may be asking how this horror happened after such commitment by the youth that believed a new Nigeria was possible. But we ask, what did you expect? How could it not happen, given the nature of Nigerian politics and the people at play? Fellow Biafrans, for the past 2 years, Nigerians have been clamoring for a change in government, a change in leadership, a change in the direction of the country that has been rendered unlivable by the government of Muhammadu Buhari. Many Biafrans and people from indigenous communities in the North, the Middle Belt, West, and Southeast have lost their lives in various acts of violence, while the Nigerian government did nothing. Biafrans and Biafra land have suffered, especially as a combination of state-sponsored terrorists and murderous Fulani cattle herdsmen rampaged Biafran communities, raped Biafran women, and particularly those in the Southeast. Despite all of this, many Nigerians, especially the youth, across diverse geographical, ethnic, and religious divide, seemed to have found some hope in Mr. Peter Obi, the Labour Party's presidential contender. They had believed that Nigerians would choose wisely and differently by abandoning their more than half a century-old ethnic animosity. Even the cynical adults got swept up in the inebriated dance of the youth. Out of the ashes of the tired, broken, corrupt, and dying country called Nigeria, a new entity would emerge with promise of opportunities for Nigerians, the youth told the world. Imagine this. Ugarsh, a Tanzanian supporter of Mr. Peter Obi and his Labour Party, climbed Africa's tallest mountain, Mount Kilimanjaro for 10.5 hours just to mount the party's flag at the top of the Uhuru Peak, the highest peak. That is hope. The youth believed, people believed that Peter Obi would pave a new path for them. International observers turned their eyes to note what was potentially seen as a new age, a rebirth, a renaissance, and hope for Africa. It was Nigeria. But at last, and alas, that would not be the case, as the current situation in Nigeria indicates. Guess who was ushered in? I shall not name this person. We are not interested. Here at BCB, we ask the critical questions. We focus on the issues. And in this election, again, the youth were deceived, their dreams shattered. Many voted under the rain, some spent hours waiting, some were beaten, chased away from polling stations, while others were threatened with death or bodily harm, especially in Lagos. A woman was stabbed several times to keep her from exercising her civil rights. Still, she got up and voted for Peter Obi. But after all this, chaos now reigns. The new dispensation died even before its birth. So, in the face of such mayhem, how could anyone trust Nigeria? We say Nigeria is a scorpion. It will always be a scorpion. It will always sting. To try to change its nature in one quick swoop might be too much an undertaking. But then what is left? Perhaps Mr. Peter Obi and Mr. Dati's achievement would finally be the death of ethnic and religious bigotry in Nigeria. But that is not the case. That's just a dream. Perhaps the judicial system will work as it should and reward the youth and all those who trusted in the possibility of recuperating that sick body called Nigeria with their deserved boon. And perhaps all of this is a hoax, a mirage, an illusion, a dream. Whatever the outcome, we are now visited by a strange, strange beast, as the Irish writer W.B. Yeats would say, whose time come at last slouches towards Bethlehem to be born. Sadly, this beast is a familiar one. It has been lurking amongst us. The fear of a new Biafra unsettles many Nigerians. On the one hand, they would rather not think of Biafra. They would chain it, hide it, bottle it like a genie, and bury it in some secret place. On the other, Nigeria refuses to let Biafrans have peace. Biafrans have been demonized, vilified, accused of trying to break up Nigeria, even as Nigerians acknowledge that their nation is incoherent, that it is already broken. But Biafrans, particularly Igbos, are made the scapegoat. On their bodies, Nigerians have thrown their anxieties, buried them into the bodies and flesh of Igbos. And the recent election provides irrefutable evidence of the hatred for Biafrans. especially those of Igbo stock? Should we provide you with a catalog of the atrocities against us again? Well, let's ask, how long shall we appease Nigerians? How long shall we demand our freedom from an oppressive society that refuses to see or acknowledge our humanity? How long must we wait? We refuse to sit silently while we are being massacred in pogroms, which have continued over decades. Yes, they did not stop. Even after 1966, even after the war, the pogroms did not stop. They continued in various forms. So, fellow Biafrans, we commend you for your patience and commitment. This is not the time for remonstrations. You have done what you believed was moral and patriotic to Nigeria, even as you are being denied those rights. You have demonstrated your commitment to a one Nigeria, even as Nigeria and Nigerians refuse to embrace you. But let's remember, oneness only works when there is mutual respect and acceptance from all by all. So ask yourselves, do you feel accepted in this oneness, in this one Nigeria? Are you equal partners in this oneness, in this one Nigeria? Now is the time to recuperate yourselves and reconsider your options. After what happened, you might ask yourselves again, what is freedom to you? What is the cost of your freedom? Yes, your freedom from the violence of those who would not let us stay with them peacefully or let us disengage from them peacefully. What is the cost of the freedom and security of your children and generations to come? So, what then is next? I leave you with this to contemplate. We are faced with serious decisions. And what decision will you make? Our people have been harmed. We are being told to stay quiet. We are being told we are part of one Nigeria, but we're also being told we don't belong. Even in the places where our sweat and blood and skin have built up, we are being told to go back to our homeland. We are being told we do not have the right to our own property. In the words of the reggae priest, we proclaim, this is a crime against humanity. Yes, indeed, it is a crime against humanity. Our freedom matters, Biafrans. So just say yes to Biafra. This is Rosama, and this is BCB, the Broadcasting Corporation of Biafra. And here is the reggae priest. Thank you for listening to us today. Join us next time for news, cultural, and educational programs. This is the Broadcasting Corporation of Biafra, BCB. Hail to be